warm welcome to all of you today to ASMA's Thought Leadership Summit on role of artificial intelligence in the future of higher education in India. I'm so happy and excited that this subject is not only the flavor of the time, it's a lot of stuff that we ourselves as an organization are doing in the subject of AI. We have some experts, with us today who are going to show their perspective, their work, their experience, impacting higher education in India using particularly artificial intelligence. And with the startup wave, with the kind of entrepreneurship as a focus by Government of India, I think there's a lot more to be seen, lot more to be experienced. We are just at the beginning, and a movement is actually shaping up. Today, among others, we have Dr. Amit Andre, who will be speaking about a unique program which is launched under the aegis of Government of India. The program is actually AI for India program. And then we have Mr. 𝗔𝗦𝗠𝗔 𝗵𝗻𝗄, who is among the key AI, notable resources in the country that we have today. We also have, Mr. Bhupesh Daheria, who will be steering the session. Mr. Bhupesh and I go back in time, and the opportunity that Bhupesh has built as AG's School of Data Science, with a lot of focus in AI particularly as well, have taken the movement to the heart, and already a lot of things have been done by him, which he is going to speak about. I'm also thankful, and I welcome Dr. 𝗔𝗦𝗠𝗔 𝗵𝗻𝗁 Shri Dr. Balakrishna Shetty ji, Dr. Swati Lodha ji. Thank you so much. All of you actually in your own way have contributed to the cause of developing institutions, growing them, and have actually taken them to new dimensions. And today is another opportunity for us to learn from you that how are you looking at AI? How are you actually implementing various AI tools in different aspects of running academic enterprise, and how are you looking at growing the future generations by disseminating the knowledge of artificial intelligence. So with this little, I would also like to share some more excitement that ASMA is coming up with a lot of new initiatives in times ahead. We have a upcoming Vice Chancellor Summit in Bombay on 30th September. I'm hopeful to have some international participation also coming in. I'm sitting here in Dubai, temperature is 42 degrees. And sitting again from Internet City when I'm talking, I can sense, the kind of cross-border collaboration opportunities that are there between these two different part of geographies. At the same time, AI is the commonality. You talk to people here, you talk to the world, both the subject as well as India is in the focus. So with that, I welcome everyone once again, and I hand it over to Nainish to do the introductions. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you. I would like to welcome all the panelists and all the participants who have joined for today's session. Our subject for today, as we are all aware, is the role of artificial intelligence in the future of higher education in India. This is the second webinar of Thought Leadership Forum, which we have initiated. And last month, we are in our first webinar. This subject found a core-relevance in the industry and in the perspective of the education, where nowadays the role of artificial intelligence in the education is going to become the future. So I would like to thank our partners. This event has been organized by NextGen Innovate. Our academic partner is ASM Group of Institute, employer branding partner is Cobuzz, learning and development partner is iSkillbox, HR partner, our community, digital HR, digital partner, FMA Digital, and our AI partner is ORAI. Let me take some time to tell you about us. NextGen Innovate is an innovation-based company which works in the conferences, virtual events, webinars, customized events, awards and felicitations and rankings, then logo branding, newsletters, emailers, interviews, articles, and many more. We are running these 4 leading communities. The most leading community of our academia, which all of us are aware, is ASMA, which has an outreach of 1,20,000 plus. Digital HR, which focuses on HR perspective, has a 25,000 plus outreach. ADMH, which focuses on healthcare, and SMX is focuses on entrepreneurs and sales and marketing. We are coming up with our 5th community very soon, which will be based on the innovation. Now, moving ahead, I would like to tell you something about our community right now is ASMA. It is a thought leadership platform helping academia harness the power of digital for growth. ASMA is a leading community in academia which aims to help uncover latest insight, anticipate future trends, and it has a framework for growth which can adopt it across preschools, universities, higher education institutions to keep pace with the changing times. We are working with 15,000 plus leading universities and institutions, 10,000 plus decision makers and stakeholders, and strong 1 lakh plus community. Our second community is Digital HR, which has 80,000 plus HRs in 10 city chapters. This community platform is for HR professionals, and it is a leading community which aims digital transformation and innovation in HR practices. And I would like to tell you something about FMA Digital. It is a award-winning digital marketing company for premium universities and institutions. This is something about us. And moving ahead towards the subject, I would like to welcome our first panelist, Dr. Swati Lodha, Director, MET Institute of Management, Dr. Ravi Kumar Jain, Dean, Vijay Patil School of Management, Professor Victor Gambhir, President, JECRC University, Jaipur, Dr. Balkrishna Shetty, Vice Chancellor, Shri Siddhartha University. Now, Bhupesh Daheria, he's our moderator and expert in the subject, who will be moderating the session. He's the CEO of AG School of Data Science, founder, MUNI Campus. Without wasting much time, I request Mr. Bhupesh Daheria to take the panel further. Thank you.
Thank you, Nainesh. Thank you so much. And Rahul, Nainesh, Asma, I must congratulate you again for bringing such a fantastic topic, which is very close to my heart. And very interesting things which are happening in education related to AI. I was not feeling well, but I could not really resist the temptation of really coming and
especially thanks again, Bhupesh, about that.
Yeah. So pardon for my low energy. So I think if we really see in education, so in education there are fundamentally 6 pillars. So we created a framework, and number one thing, and since we have a limited time, so we can dwell upon these 6 pillars. Number one, AI can be used in terms of course design and course launch. That's one thing. So how do we really take inputs from outside world in terms of designing a course? I have conducted workshops in Dubai and Singapore about how you can really infuse AI for designing the right curriculum and seeing whether there is a gap between industry requirement and say what we're designing, because the industry is changing so at fast pace that it becomes extremely difficult to cope up, and we can't really rely on our human intelligence. So that's one part. Second is, of course, marketing these programs, and I think that is where ASMA is doing amazing work. They launch ORI as a chatbot for automation. So that's one part, course design, course launch. The second part is enrollment. So a lot of work has also been done on enrollment in terms of identifying the right kind of candidate, getting the right applications, shortlisting candidate, identifying the right fit for the program. And once you get the student, and then of course the teaching starts. Major work has been done in teaching, but I think that is the area where the least amount of work is being done. We have been talking a lot about personalization, recommendation, course recommendation, those kind of stuff, but only major work has been done in terms of course recommendation. I would like to hear the panelist perspective on that. So that's the third part. And while we are teaching, we need to administer these candidates. We need to really collect fees. We need to really issue mark sheet. We need to do assessment, right? And during COVID, we have seen how AI has played a significant role in terms of really conducting secure tests. We at MUNI also launched AI-based proctored assessment and conducted thousands of candidate tests. And AI can really play a major role. So once you do the admin, of course, you need to really provide a skilling, which is not part of your regular curriculum. And you can't keep on changing the curriculum. And I think Professor Victor and Professor Balakrishna will agree on that, that large universities, no matter how you want to really make them agile, they still work on a bureaucratic structure. You can't keep on changing. So the Python is there and you just infuse. So that's another piece of skilling. And the last piece, which is most important, and that's basically providing the campus placement. Right? How do we really facilitate them equal opportunity? How do we really give them opportunities which are their relevance, right? Which could be full-time opportunities, which could be internship. How do we really reduce the biases? So fundamentally, these are the pillars, I think, and I open to all the panelists to really dwell upon. So let me start with Dr. Swathi. That what is your experience? You can pick up any pillar, right? Whichever you feel where you have seen, you have implemented some AI, or you have seen, witnessed any kind of AI implementation. Over to you, Dr. Swathi.
Thank you, Bhupesh-ji. Hope you feel well soon, because it's difficult to talk when you are low on energy, and we don't work on artificial intelligence. We work on our own, human capabilities, and so it becomes actually difficult. But I'm so glad that you took your commitment so seriously and you are here with all of us. So nice to meet all of you here. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Nainish, for having me here. And artificial intelligence is something that has entered into our lives, rather gate crashed completely now. And we've been talking about this more than human intelligence. And yes, we cannot escape from it anymore. And also, it is, in my opinion, the biggest thing is that the best combination of our human intelligence and artificial intelligence is going to see us through. When you talk about the 6 pillars, Mr. Dahiria, you talk about the course design, you talk about the admission processes, you talk about the campus placement, as you said, that these are some of the important areas. And as an educationist and as a director of a higher education institution, we have started using them more so in campus placement right now, and also in admissions. So admission part is something where the chatbots come in, where the we start with collecting all the data points about the new students who are going to join, and we try and figure out how they are the user interface with the websites, with other platforms. We get to know about the behavior of the students, the aspirants who are going to join our institutions. So there we are already seeing that the data analysis that we do, the methods of admissions are changing very quickly. And these days we don't even meet the students at times who are getting admitted till the whole process is over. And that is how it is. And it's doing a commendable job. I would like to quote a book called Principles, written by a very famous hedge fund owner of the US, called Mr. Ray Dalio. So Ray in this book writes about how the combination of both the intelligence, that is the computing intelligence as well as our human intelligence, can take us forward. So I see that as the predominant thing here. And I see a big role of artificial intelligence in the democratization of studies, of education, of wisdom. That is what artificial intelligence is doing, and we can do a lot of democratization, because I'm working with a lot of edtech companies and they all are able to move to the rural areas. They are working with the tier 3 cities, they are working with actually small villages, and they are able to provide education at those grassroots levels, which is only possible because of onset of artificial intelligence. It was not possible maybe 5 years earlier, but we see schools like 𝗔𝗦𝗍𝗵𝗵𝗍. We see a lot of things like lead school now. And what these people are doing is they are completely democratizing knowledge, and they are taking knowledge to the doorstep of those students who are aspiring to change their lives, who have all the competence and the potential to be something. But the problem is that they never had the accessibility earlier. Now we are able to have that accessibility only because of artificial intelligence, only because of the adaptive learning platforms that we have developed, because of the immersive classrooms that we are able to create. So according to me, in schools also, it has a great value add when we start using AI. And at our level, that is in the higher education system, I think we'll be able to provide a lot of personalized insights to students using AI. So that is changing a lot of things very quickly to us. I'll give you a small example. I at Amit Institute of Management, we've just started with a consulting, chapter for students. It is a consulting center of excellence that the students have started. So we applied to a few global consulting firms, and we received a questionnaire from them, and then we answered all the questions, and there was a chatbot to help us gauge through what the other branches are doing. In the first shot, we could not make it to the selection process. And so there was a virtual meeting which was conducted where they gave us a few personalized inputs on what was wrong with our application. We made all those corrections and we were able to get in. So now there was a lot of cost cutting that they could do based on whatever they had done in terms of making those processes seamless, and based on those processes which were not being run by humans. We were able to get in, and now we are getting consulting projects from across the globe. And we have not picked those, the projects based on whatever we wrote in our application. There is a roster, there are some algorithms that they have made, and based on them, we are allotted those projects. So the speed is very fast. We were able to do it all in a very short time. And then there was not a lot of subjective assessment that was done. It was more objective, but it was all done by AI based processes that they have. And so it was speedy. And I am very appreciative of the fact that we are mixing the two. So the experience so far has been good. The only challenge I feel is that we need to train our resource persons, our faculty members more, so that there is a change in the mindset where we make a mix of both the things. That is, we are not losing touch with human intelligence, and at the same time, we are embracing the opportunities that artificial intelligence brings. That's what I think about it. And I'm sure I would learn a lot more from the other colleagues of mine, from the other experts who are already maybe using more of AI in their day-to-day experiences in education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Swati, for your perspective. And I'm really glad that you took some initiative at MIT. coming to Professor Victor, let's take this thread further. So one of the important things which Dr. Swati has also mentioned that is basically training your own people. And one of the fundamental pillars in education is basically teachers. So as a, like you're heading this 𝗔𝗧𝗟𝗙 university, what are your strategies in terms of really training teachers, right? And what are the strategies you're implementing for improving the efficiency and taking this AI into the fabric of your university? Any thoughts on that, Professor Victor?
Okay, thanks you very much. And very good evening to all present here. And thanks to ASMA for connecting me with this elitist group where we are talking about, say, use of artificial intelligence in higher education sector. 𝗔𝗧𝗟𝗙 is predominantly a technical education based university. We have last year only we started some health education program. Otherwise, we basically offer engineering, life sciences, physical sciences, then management, computer application, hotel management, design. So we have primarily those kind of professional and vocational education courses. And right now there is a minimal use of artificial intelligence. We use some chatbots and some bots which we have prepared in-house through the hackathon competition which we hold in our group of institutions. And certain bots apps have been developed and those we are using. Since there is a time limit out of the 6 pillars which were mentioned, I would like to talk about teaching and area which has been specifically asked from me, teacher training. So teaching, one of the biggest challenge which nowadays which we are facing, that is implementing outcome-based education, OBE, which is popularly called. And this we have kind of adopted from US. Now the challenge the challenge at OB level is that we need to define program outcomes and then course outcomes, and then we need to map course outcome with the program outcome. And end of the day, we need to say calculate program outcome for each and every student and course outcome for each and every student for each course which she or he has studied. Say taking the example, when we talk about, say, today the highest rush is in computer engineering. Almost we are rather a stage has come where I have 80% of the student in engineering, rather 85% in computer engineering, and rest 15% in all other conventional branches and non-conventional branches. So say in computer engineering curriculum, there is one part is coding and testing, another part is networking, another part is, say, cyber security. So there are multiple fields available. 2 students who have got, say, 70% marks, identical marks, or say CGPA of 8.0. So how they are different? A person may be very good in coding and very low in, say, cyber security or networking. So when an employer is looking at 2 persons having the same score, they need to know what exactly, which are the competencies in which they are strong. And that we find out when we assess and evaluate a student for each course. Technically, every question asked from the student is linked to some course outcome, and we need to punch her or his score into the system. And there the data becomes so huge that without using analytics and analytical tools and artificial intelligence, it is almost impossible to calculate or say index for program outcomes or course outcomes. And that has become a pain point. Say when a teacher is taking load of 16 hours, then we presume that at least she or he takes around 8 to 10 hours or more hours to prepare for that subject, and almost similar type of time he takes for assessment and evaluation. And when you need to punch that data on real-time basis, one of the struggle I was today morning, say Dean Law told me that my teacher is supposed to teach Indian Constitution to 11 sections of computer engineering students, and he'll be required to evaluate around 15,000 answer books in 3 months. So, and then that data needs to be punched and we need to work out these indexes. So until and unless we are able to devise some AI-based application, this work is almost impossible. The AI will be of great help to us, and analytical tools will be great help to us if we are able to work out certain applications which can make the job of the teacher easy. And as far as teacher training is concerned, we are a private self-financing university. The biggest challenge with us is that attrition rate in most of the private universities, leaving medical professor Shetty will understand that. In technical based courses, attrition rate is very high. It may be around 25-30%, and almost 20 to 30% of my faculty members, they have less than 2-year experience. And almost top leadership, 80% of my top leadership, they are retirees from the government institutions. So these say 15-20% top leadership, and so they are not computer savvy. They are in the age group of say 60 to 70, and they are not very computer savvy, and say they can do basic MS Office, but beyond that there is a challenge. And the freshers who have come with less than 2-year experience, they also don't have that kind of exposure. So what exactly we are doing, and this ERP, when we talk about ERP, which is supposed to be a almost paperless solution for an educational institutions, I had my first experience of implementing ERP in mid-90s when I was working as joint director in Technical Education Department, Government of Haryana, and we were evaluating ERP for polytechnics under a World Bank project. Unfortunately, we evaluated number of ERPs available at that point of time, and the biggest problem which we felt was change management. Packages were taken. It was people were not ready to accept the change, and it took 3, 4, 5 years to implement. Almost only 20% of the benefits we could reap in 3, 4, 5 years. Later on, when I took VRS and moved to private education domain, it is almost for last 16 years I am in private education. There in one of the university we implemented ERP. It was TCS ION. We were one of the first client for TCS. Again, change management became the huge challenge for all of us. So we are conducting some in-house faculty development program using our resources who are well-versed with these kind of competencies. We are also say using third-party training programs, including we are encouraging our teachers to do courses on say Coursera, this Upgrade and Swayam. But yes, it is a big challenge. And also we are using, say there are government platforms, like there are National Institutes of Technical Teacher Training institutes. Then there are some of the universities, they have their own academies for teacher training. So we are using multiple resources, but yes, it is a big challenge, training faculty and then retaining the trained faculty, because when there is the attrition rate is so high, then every time you get a new teacher, you need to train them up again. So I will stop at this point. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Victor. So you highlighted a couple of points which are very interesting. And one of the points which I really liked, and there I worked, basically aligning the course outcome. And I see we need to really move ahead from the internally designing the course outcome. So let's say when we are teaching Java, so we might have designed the internal course outcome based on what a student should really learn out of this Java program. And that's where the problem is. We need to align this learning outcome, and one of the learning outcomes should be getting the job. And once we really, and that's a hard fact, and all of us, we must agree, that today every student, whether he is joining in India or overseas, they're primarily doing it for employment. And that's where a lot of disruption has happened from Coursera, edX, or Udemy, or these platforms, which are really offering courses which are related to employment driven. And they have done extremely well. So we at university also, we need to really extend our learning outcome based on the job. And what are the job skills is needed, and then take it backward and bring it to the classroom. And I think that's where the AI can really play a significant role. And I'm proud that we at Aegis, we have a Center for Education and AI and for education. And that's where we have analyzed thousands, roughly around 150,000 jobs, and try to really see what kind of skills is needed. And we build up an AI-based tool, which can precisely tell you where is the gap within your curriculum. And this can really give you some indication that are you really teaching a junk curriculum, or is it really aligned with what is needed in the market? Coming to Dr. Ravi, you're with Management Intuition, and Management Intuitions, I know that has now embraced technology greatly, unlike 20 years back. Can you really share your couple of experiences, how AI has been used in terms of improving efficiency, bringing automation, right from marketing to curriculum development to skilling or other areas, or any other thing you have in your mind?
Thank you, Bhupesh. And such a pleasure to meet all the stalwarts here. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Nayanesh, for getting me here. Interesting topic when I was looking at role of AI and future of higher education. Now, I think we need to understand what the future of higher education is going to be. Given rapid digitalization of the world, every aspect of human endeavors is getting digitalized, and we are living in a fluid world right now. So digital engagement is a must. And as you said, management education is an important aspect in the overall spectrum of education, but digital engagement is a necessity. So, whether it is chatbots, or whether it is AR, VR, or LMS and all these have been there, and educational institutions, especially B schools, have been adopting these for last few years, even before Corona, as some of our learned panelists highlighted in their talks. What I am looking at is going forward, we are looking at a huge disruption, which is long due now in the higher education space, more importantly in the management education space. We are moving from standardization of curriculum and degree and standardization of education to more personalization and individualization, with localization being a major element. Localization in terms of adopting to the learning abilities, learning capabilities, learning habits of an individual learner, to localization of language and using local language, local examples, and so on to facilitate effective learning. In this area, I have seen implementation of softwares which assisted, say, people with impairments, with translation of the sessions, lectures, and also converting text to voice and voice to text. These are basic, very, very basic assistive applications of AI, including chat box where, assistive tutoring for effective learning for slow learners and all, universal app providing universal access or tutoring support outside the classroom. All these we have adopted at some level or other. When I was with Symbiosis a few months ago, I mean, in the last 8 years in my stint at Symbiosis, we have adopted, we were perhaps the early adopters of evaluation using AI-based applications. So internal evaluations were evaluated based on some of these applications where students' engagement and students' involvement was there, and it is all paperless. That has proven to be really effective way of engaging and also evaluating. So evaluations were not seen as a pain. They, students, in fact, they were engaged and they were enjoying the whole process. This is going one step forward, where now we are exploring at my new place of work, Vijay Patil School of Management. Just a month ago, we evaluated a smart tab, AI-based, for writing exams, handwritten on a smart pad. The technology was there, but it has evolved over a period of time in the last 10 years. And today it is so smart, so adaptive, that it takes off 90% of your administrative load on the university, and also bring in a lot of, I would say, checks and balances in examination, including that of ethics of examination, or, containing the malpractice and stuff like that. So that is one advanced application within the academic administration. I see a major application of AI in curriculum delivery, teaching and learning process, where adaptive learning, assistive learning, and immersive learning are three major applications I foresee are going to mature as the technology is rapidly increasing. All these are there: assistive using chat box, or immersive using AR, VR. In a very primitive stage, they are there. The applications are there. We have all used. Some of our colleagues have also shared their experiences of using it in their respective institutions. The use of chatbots and all that is rampant. But with the improvement of technology, the effect of these chatbots or assistive technologies and immersive technologies is going to be much more, impactful, much more better, bringing in greater, what you call experiential learning, effect on the learners, and it makes easier for the teachers also. So it complements big time to the teachers. So there is a scare among teaching community: if AI takes over, then we will be jobless and all. The good news is, in fact, AI will complement your teaching abilities, and you will be able to do better and more effective in your work by adopting to AI. I must say, I mean, if I have to, summarize the future of higher education, we are moving from typical campus-based with physical boundaries to more platform-based, location-agnostic, and more fluid, learning method. In that, use of AI from curriculum delivery to assessment and to evaluations is going to be really, really paramount. And for management education or management institutions, post the evaluation, mapping the profile with the job requirement would be of great help. We are already working on something called profile mapping, where instead of exposing all students to all companies that are visiting to campus, we are actually mapping their profiles based on their assessments and evaluation with the company's roles and industry from which roles offered, and industry from which they are coming. Second is, it's going to help us in balancing between high tech and high touch. While teaching in more emotional, with the emotional contours will remain, it also brings in technology where adaptive learning becomes much of a norm. So in a manner of speaking, I would say AI is helping us rapidly move into perhaps a zone where we can say tech-based Ekal Vidyalayas are possible. tech-based gurukuls are possible at mass level. So AI perhaps is going to help us going forward in democratizing the higher education by potentially bringing back effectiveness of Gurukul at a mass level. I think I'll rest my comments here and come back for the next round if there are any points to be shared. Thank you so much, Bhupesh.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. So, yes, the world is moving more on assisted learning, hybrid learning, and AI technologies are really improving the efficiency of faculty members rather than constantly creating the questions, answers, manually doing the assessment, right? All these things, AI is actually trying to really automate, not trying to replace the faculty, but trying to really augment the capability of the faculty so that, because I spoke to a lot of people and even at my institution, we see that majority of the faculties, they are involved into admin work. And that creates a whole lot of problem. Admin work is not something which faculty must be doing. Faculty must be studying, exploring new pedagogies, right? And then implementing the better teaching method and improving the outcome. And I think that is where this artificial intelligence can really play a significant role, and it's playing. Dr. Balkrishna, you have such a vast experience, right? I could really see like you must be having over 4 decades of experience. One of the most important factor which Professor Victor has also highlighted, that enrollment is becoming a challenge, right? And just deploying, say, automation in enrollment or AI-based enrollment methods cannot drastically improve our enrollment. Can really help us, but now everybody is doing. The major thing which enrollment placement actually impacts the enrollment. Better the placement, better the enrollment. And that's a bitter truth, whether we criticize, we accept, or we don't accept. So my question to you, Dr. Sethi, that what are the AI tools or technology implementations you have seen or you're implementing at your university to make students much more employer ready, right? As Dr. Ravi also pointed out, profile matching, how AI can be used for giving them better job opportunities in terms of internship, in terms of full-time jobs, in terms of consulting assignments. Over to you, Professor Sethi.
Thank you, Bhupesh. I think Ravi, Richter, my friend, they have summarized very well. Swati also mentioned about the technical aspects of artificial intelligence. Bhupesh, you are asking me regarding the enrollment of the students and the employability of the students along with the enrollment, and how AI will help these our students. Okay, that's a question that I'll definitely
not limiting to Professor Sethi, whatever you feel like.
Yes, that's
I want to hear your experience.
Thank you very much.
Right, I don't want to really put you into frame.
That question is very good. That question has to be answered actually. So what I'm telling before answering that question, I would like to tell you is what are these hurdles, because AI is definitely important, definitely useful. So what are the hurdles? What are the apprehensions we need to summarize a little bit. I'll tell you a very simple example which happened yesterday. I saw a patient with the knee joint pain. I did an MRI, and there was a tear of the ligament inside the knee joint. And I called the doctor and told, so look at this. This is a patient who has got a ligament tear. I think you should do a laparoscopic or arthroscopic surgery. That is a keyhole surgery and fix a ligament. But unfortunately, that surgeon, he was a old-time surgeon. He said, no, we should not these keyhole surgeries. We should open up the joint. It is also so easy. It is a small incision. I can just open it up and put a screw immediately. This arthroscopy, these keyhole surgeries are not important. This is the first experience I'm telling you. This is what the faculty feel today. For a long time, we said, of course, our faculty is telling It is a talk and chalk, talk and chalk, chalk and talk, all those things they are telling. And slowly, our faculty members are telling it is hybrid teaching, it is hybrid teaching, it is hybrid teaching. Slowly, I'm very happy. But the implementation of all these latest technologies in India is difficult, is a greatest hurdle. It is a Herculean task. I would love to say that, because I know our students are good, our students are greatest achievers, and our students achieve only outside our country, and achievement of our students is not at all recognizable inside the country. And what is a hurdle? What is a problem for our student? Is it our seed is bad or the soil is bad? I keep questioning all my faculty members, but ultimately it is unfortunate to say that our soil is little bad, but the seed is really good. So with these two incidences, I'll tell you what is the role of artificial intelligence. I'll tell you one more simple example. These examples will give you the answer to the questions. I'll tell you, when I did my MD radiology and I did my work on typhoid infection. And I submitted that literature to publication in American Journal of Radiology. And the reply comes, Dr. Shetty, they went through my abstract, they went through the entire publication. They said, your English is very bad. Then I wrote back to the American Journal of Radiology. I told them, look, I am submitting a paper for management of typhoid disease, not for English literature, I told them. Now, the first question, the first answer for question is, AI is going to liberate this language barrier. That is the most important point I would like to convey. So today, my students, my doctors will be able to publish their work in any journal for that matter. That is the most important implication of our artificial intelligence. And the moment our research, our publications of our students and faculty members increase, the employability will definitely going to increase, because today the whole world, is just, they're just propaganding that Indian university is not within 100. All these Western media gimmicks, you see. So because they don't know what are the standards for a university, they just want to throw the whole world, because they're worried because Indian students are becoming very prominent and Indian faculty becoming very, very good. Indian doctors are accepted all over the world. So they want to say that India is not a good country. India is not. We are going to become an educational and healthcare hub over the world. That is going to happen whether you like it or not. And for that, this artificial intelligence will definitely help. And the second point is Swati, she put it very nicely, democratize. The most important aspect of artificial intelligence, it will democratize. Definitely, we'll talk about emotional intelligence was there. There was a lot of attachment between the student and the faculty. The faculty always wanted to hold the student within the 4 concrete halls. And you also always, every time you want to publish something, the faculty will ask, "Mera naam kidhar hai?" Whether it is a first name, second name. The biggest hurdle I saw that a faculty member wants to have his name in each and every student publication. Now that barrier also will be liberated because of democratization, what Swati madam has put very nicely. So these are the two very important things. So when there is liberalization, when there is democratization, when there is automation, I feel my student will have a better opportunity to get a job in any part of the world. That is the most important point. Now, the third point, which I would like to say, the language barrier. That also I told you. Now, there is no language barrier. You need not worry about the language, because artificial intelligence will help you to come out of the language barrier. These are 3 very important factors which will be utilized for artificial intelligence. But the most important problem is implementation in this country. We are all very good in speaking. They say we have got diarrhea of suggestions, but the constipation of implementation. That is what I would like to say. These will never be implemented in this country. We talk about a new education policy. What the government will allow me to take 1 extra student, whether the government will allow me to give credits for the points which has taken in another university. The UGC will never allow us. They will say where you have done, how you give, how you start new courses. All such constraints are there in this country. With such constraints, I don't know how new education policy will be implemented in this country. So the first and foremost is I compliment one person. I compliment only one person for helping me to implement some of the revolutions in education. Who is that person? Anybody? The coronavirus. I would like to compliment the coronavirus. The coronavirus has liberated my student out of the concrete hall. Today, my student can sit in any place and learn anything, and he can challenge my knowledge itself. Today, my student is much more intelligent than me because of coronavirus. Thank you, Corona. Thank you very much. Because my student can sit and learn anywhere. So this is the importance of making our students more intelligent, more acceptable. So this is the point I would like to convey. I would like to tell you, when I wanted to do a thesis, when I was doing MD radiology, I told, that was in 1989, about 30 years back. So I told that time the ultrasound scan had just landed in India. I said, I will do ultrasound scan. I will do a thesis of renal failure, which uses ultrasound to see the kidneys. And I gave that thesis to my guide. Sir, I want to do this thesis. I was just about 26, 27 years old at that time. Sir, I want to do this thesis. So what this is it? This is a thesis on renal failure by ultrasound scanning. My professor had not seen the ultrasound scanning at all. He said, where is the reference? Sir, this is a new thesis, sir. Nobody has done a lot of work on this. Only 10 references were there. Hardly 10 references. Only 10 references. What thesis will do out of 10 references? No, you change the thesis, because my faculty was not aware of ultrasound. Then I told, sir, I will do one. Then what? I was so desperate because I was a student. I have to follow my guide's suggestions. I said, sir, next thesis point I took to my sir, it was a thesis on bone tumors, which is about 100 years old concept. So I said, sir, this is bone tumor. I'm telling. Again, I saw, sir, this is bone tumor. I want to do a thesis on bone tumor. Okay, show me the references. I showed 1,000 references. Oh, already 1,000 references are there. What thesis you will do on this particular aspect? You know, this is a faculty member. I am not generalizing the faculty members. With present faculty members implementing artificial intelligence, I saw in the chat box, one of the students, our faculty members are busy in taking attendance, busy in taking internal assessment. What work I have done, they are not doing. They are doing where I went, where I studied, how many, what attendance I have, how much I cooperated with the faculty member. All these things are assessed. I definitely say intelligence, what is that? Emotionally intelligence is very, very important, but it should be hybrided with artificial intelligence. And then only I think we can have best students in our universities. Thank you.
Bhupesh, may I interject? I'm just
please.
I'm just tempted with Dr. Shetty's comments. I'm reminded of, one of the session during Corona when we were talking about, education transitioning, and this transition is required in 3 M's. That is mode, method, and model. Now, mode, as you rightly thanked Corona, we all thank Corona that we could switch from offline mode, campus-based, physical mode to online and hybrid. Now it has become a norm. Now it is no more new. Everybody is so used to it. So mode switching or transition of mode is successfully done. Now the method, which involves more of pedagogy, delivery, and administration, it is up to the institution, it is up to us, it is up to our teachers, it is up to our staff to make efforts to move on that piece. While the model piece, the regulatory folks have to work on that. And the good news is, though they are moving a little slow, they are moving in that direction. So we are on the track. All 3 M's have to move fast. Mode, we have achieved it. Method, we have to together, today's debate is more on the method part of it. How do we administer the program? And model is something which will catch up. Government and the regulatory authority have to do it. They don't have a choice, because that is going to be a norm. Once things are becoming a norm, they have to align. It is not the other way around. So I think I was just tempted when you said whether UGC will allow us or AICT will allow us and all. They will align with us, provided we show a solid move or transition from on the method piece of the 3 M framework. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very valuable point, Dr. Ravi, which you have added. So yes, Dr. Shetty, the biggest issue is we can really talk a lot, but the major issue is implementation. And how do we really bring AI? Because talking in this kind of panel discussion about AI is pretty simple, but implementing really in university, it takes a whole lot of effort and vision from the top management, because this does not percolate from bottom to top. Right from the owners of universities to vice chancellors to it goes really downward. And one of the major issue is that most of these 6 pillar infrastructure, these are silo infrastructure. So the marketing strategy infrastructure is separate, course, say teaching LMS is separate, academic admin ERPs are separate, wherein skilling platforms are separate, right? Couple of institutions are taking Coursera, edX. The placement module is separate, alumni management is separate. So there are multiple silo systems you need to stitch together. Unfortunately, one of the most important pillar for academic delivery is learning management system. And even the Corona could really not do really much in terms of implementation. North America, LMS implementation is roughly around 3%, 97%. Where in India, pre-COVID, it was 3%, post-COVID, it has increased to roughly around 5%. So even COVID could not really increase LMS adoption too much. Rather, schools were pretty advanced in terms of really adoption of LMS because of Google Class and Microsoft Team and other platforms. But higher education, still I see that they consider the cost. Of course, there are very few tools freely available. And until unless the learning piece does not get digitized, because to AI to work, you need data. And the data need to be at one centralized place, whether it is about academic performance, whether it is about admissions, whether it is about placement. It need to really work like a body, right? Your hands are not separate, your heart is not somewhere else, your legs are not somewhere else. God has beautifully created a very unified system, and there is a single nerve system. And I tend to agree most of the time that artificial intelligence is artificial. There's nothing artificial about that. It is basically aggregation of a real intelligence, which is collated from all of us. So one of the example could be Google Map. There is nothing artificial about the Google Map intelligence which it gives you. In a real time, it collects the intelligence from millions of people and show you the path far better than the God. If you have to really travel and navigate path in Bombay, Google Map will come for a rescue, not God. And we can really extend this concept in education. So if we have to really holistically implement this AI in higher education or primary education or skilling or wherever, these silo systems need to be integrated. West has developed these silo systems brick by brick over last 30 years. We at India, since we are the late adopter, I think we have a chance that we don't implement it silo. And even if we implement silo, we really use the API integration so that we bring those intelligence at one place. And that's where universities need to really take a lead. That's where the leaders like us need to really take a lead, and then it will only be percolated and down. Not that faculty members need to really learn Python or algorithms to really implement these things, right? Most of the faculty members, they understand the mathematics, which is the base of AI or machine learning. I think it's more about realizing and getting sympathetic towards ourselves and the student, that we are here for betterment of the student, and these technologies are not going to replace us. These technologies are going to really help us. I think with this note, I would like to close and open it for all the panelists to really share your opinions and thoughts on any area. And we can take any question from the audience if there is any. Dr. Swati, you like to add something?
I think we've covered a lot of our concerns. We've talked about a lot of the things that we are going forward with. And so it's like a fluid world, as we call that. We are no longer in a VUCA world, but we are more in a Bani world now, which is a little brittle, which is anxious, which is non-linear, and which is incomprehensible in a lot of ways. So when we are living in that kind of a world, I'm sure that we cannot have the same strategies that we are used to. And we know that our students also know now that a lot of things that we are learning now might be obsolete in the coming very near future, maybe 2-3 years only. There's a possibility that a lot of the learning might become redundant. So artificial intelligence is going to play a big role in the coming times. And we have to buck up to learn and to imbibe it in a lot of ways. But at the same time, we have to be very careful about the challenges which are there, which come to our doorstep with it, because internet connectivity is a big issue in our country still. Accessibility is a big issue here. Then, as you very rightly pointed out, that it is a top to bottom thing. The vision of the top management would also play a big role in how much we can implement artificial intelligence. So all these things are going to play a very important role going forward. But yes, upskilling ourselves, learning about artificial intelligence and using it more for the administrative purposes can actually take a lot of load off our faculty members, and then they could give more importance to the research, the kind of work that will help us create better learning methodologies, which we would be able to give more time to being human. That is using those things only, which only we can do. When we talk about emotional intelligence or when we talk about creativity, so the things that only humans can do, we can focus more on those things if we pass on some of the repetitive stuff to AI. But a balance has to be made, and then a lot of vision changes on the level of vision are. That is what I think is lacking right now. As Professor Gambhir mentioned, that a lot of people are in the age bracket of 60 to 70, and they are the senior people. And so the mindset change is going to be a big challenge for us. So I see that all the time. I hear also that no matter how much we try, but that kind of change in the mindset is actually difficult. But yes, as we are talking right now, we have made this kind of shift very easily. But when it comes to the ERP solutions, when it comes to the implementation of LMS, then as you rightly said, documentation is taking so much of time of our faculty members. I mean, sometimes I feel I'm more of a glorified clerk these days. When we are only busy documenting for all the accreditation purposes, it sometimes take us very much away from teaching as we used to do. I don't get that much of time to teach anymore because I am more worried about all the documentation that at this level I wish to do. So the research time is going away. And so it's if AI could help us in that kind of documentation, I'm sure that would be a big relief. So I think we should try to use all those areas where AI could take us more towards the human part, and it could take the load off us for all the repetitive tasks, for all the administrative tasks. That could be a big change and also a paradigm shift for education. That's what I feel about it. Thank you so much.
There is a question from audience. Security aspect also would be challenged during implementation of AI.
It is.
Dr. Victor, you would like to take this question?
So security again, it all depends. Security, I think a lot of security can be built in, but say providing foolproof solutions will definitely be a challenge. Say when we talk about say privacy and these kind of things, sometimes we have made data a very precious commodity, and that is being exploited by say technology companies also. But I think sufficient safeguards can be built, but they will remain prone to hacking or something like that. So we have to live with that. I don't find any plausible solution. One thing I'd like to add briefly, one of the challenge before us for implementing AI is that in India, the norms fixed by the statutory bodies are very, very stringent, and specifically medical education. Dr. Shetty will bear that out. Cost of medical education in India is almost 3 times the cost of education in Caribbean countries. And say Ukraine, we had 18,000 students enrolled in medical education because they were getting a cheaper education. And then creating a sync between Indian medical system and Ukrainian medical system is again a issue, and they need to come to India and appear, need to clear some tests, otherwise they don't register, they don't get registered, and neither they can do practice nor they can do job. And same is the case with say technical education. We have complicated the norms to such an extent that cost of education become very high, and almost 75 to 80% of the seats, they are in private self-financing domain, and the burden totally goes to the students. And say we need to look for some low-cost solutions. If say high-cost solutions are available from the industry, again there is a challenge to implement that, because that increases the cost further. So we need to have some say trade-off between say the cost of the solutions which are available to us for implementing AI. Thank you.
If the central if the central institutions and apex bodies stop these inspections, accreditations, ranking processes for the next 5 years, we can reduce the cost of education in this country by 50%.
Right. And definitely, once we really, let's say, typically in admin role, right? So AI can automate a lot of admin role, and it can reduce down the manpower significantly, because every manpower you really add, you need to recover that money essentially from the student's pocket, right? And that also increases the salary. So India slowly and gradually has become an unaffordable country. So we are no longer a cheaper manpower resourcing country. Other countries like Ukraine, Poland, right, they are providing much cheaper technical resources than India. So we need to really resort to these kind of technologies so that overall we can really reduce down. Adding to this security concern, one of the open security, I would not call it a breach. I saw a meme by somebody has posted that the Chinese are trying to really hack, and Indians are saying, why you want to really hack? There is the data available for you. There's no need for that. And one of the example I can really give, typically in placement. In placement, if still institutions are maintaining their data in Excel sheet, there are guys, those who really create fake companies, and they reach you out for a placement, and institutions share the Excel sheet data. This is illegal, this is immoral, right? Because you're handing over the entire personal identifier data with some unknown third party, and how they're going to use this data, you are not really aware of that, right? And there has been a lot of incidences which has been reported, and there are some incidences which were not reported. And a lot can be done. So, like, I'm glad to say that 6 months back we implemented 𝗔𝗦𝗠𝗔 𝗪𝗏, which has become India's largest campus recruitment platform, which actually automates, and no recruiter can really download the student data. It automatically creates the CV. It automatically creates the placement brochure. It gives the recommendation to students. It gives recommendation to the companies about the profile. Automatically, it really identifies the skill, and based on it really gives the recommendation to the students about the job. Companies can really do complete recruitment cycle over here, and there's no data leakage. And I don't understand, this is a simple thing why people have not done it, because we are still following the Western mindset of working in silo. So I think we need to really come out of this Western mindset and Western silo system which they have built. And we need to really build a holistic data strategy for moving forward. Dr. Ravi, you like to add something?
No, in fact, I am reminded of some of the solutions you offered 3-4 years ago in one of our seminars that we did at Hyderabad.
Right.
I think that's going to take off a lot of load, both on the general administration and program administration. I think AI is a big solution for that. It will not only reduce cost, it will add a lot of convenience, and it will free up our time for more strategic and more futuristic work.
Right.
I think
so this was a need for us, Dr. Ravi, because we have really broken the shackle of a regulator.
absolutely.
So AJS School of Data Science is not aligned with any AICT or UGC. And we don't own physical infrastructure, not a single penny physical infrastructure.
No, I think with digital universities coming up, in fact, Government of India is pushing big time.
Right.
I'm on the consultation group for one of the, digital university initiative of Government of Maharashtra and one private university. The regulator is aligning with the believe me when I'm saying this, they're aligning with what's happening in the industry.
Right.
So that's a good news for us.
No, even our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has announced for digital university initiative, and there has been a lot of discussion which is going on among AICT and UGC and various IITs. And I feel that yes, slowly and gradually, most of these open universities will convert for themselves as a digital university. Partly it is being done.
Bhupesh, conventional universities and Government of Maharashtra has formed a panel
Right.
to come up with a roadmap to establish digital university. Private agents, private players, I don't want to name them now, 2 of them, they're already working on creating this digital university. So we are moving there, and AI is going to be the, I would say, foundation for being for these digital universities to be effective.
So now you have come to New Bombay. I'm also in New Bombay. Let's connect sometime. So thank you so much, everybody. Dr. Ravi, Dr. Victor, Dr. Swati, Dr. Balakrishna, and I think we have one of the prominent thought leader, Dr. Amit is here, and Amit is going to share his thoughts and his experience on this AI. Thank you so much, everybody, and I look forward to meet all of you beyond this virtual world, sometime in physical world. Beyond this AI, more on the emotional intelligence. And you're most welcome anytime if you come to New Bombay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, everyone.
Nainesh, for such a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Bhupesh. This was really an insightful session on the AI, and as all the panelists mentioned, that this subject has taken, and artificial intelligence has taken a center place for all of us in our businesses, in our universities, in the education. So to discuss in detail, we have an expert here. I would like to welcome Dr. Amit Andre, who will be giving us a presentation on AI for India program. Amit Andre is a Chief Executive Officer of Data Tech Labs and is a renowned public speaker, passionate learner, and an avid digital transformation expert. He holds expertise in artificial intelligence and data science. Without his high-profile technology qualifications, complex real-time problem-solving methodologies, and outcome-oriented approach set him apart. While his initiative towards improving organizational growth, profit hiking strategies, and keeping pace with the technological advancement mark him as a leading CEO. Without 21 years of rich experience, along with his custom-driven approach and the learn and improve strategy, Dr. Andre always aspires to get the best technological solution for resolving business challenges. He is frequently invited as a technical speaker by renowned organizations and institutions from all over the world. So I welcome Dr. Amit Andre to give his thoughts on presentation on AI for India program. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Amit.
Thanks, Nainesh. Good evening, guys. all the respected dignitaries and people who have attending the session today. As you all are hearing it out from multiple sources about the digital world, digital universities, AI, data science, and what not. It is very important for all of us to first understand what exactly makes the correct combination to work in these streams. As leaders of large institutes and responsible to build a career of multiple students or people in India, it is very important for all of us to understand the most important part on how this is gonna take shape in nearing future. Let me share my screen before I deep dive into it and take you through a quick understanding of what we are trying to work out in different senses. I hope my screen is visible. AI for India, a thought process where we understand that it is not only the world of engineers, but it's also very important to understand different domains where AI will be applied. With that thought process, an insight into AI adoption state of India is what we identified and defined, with the help of which we came up with few important objectives. Here, I'm not talking about any specific course or university or institute for that matter. But yes, the vision to make India AI capital of the world. We all know that a decade back or 2 decades back, where computer and IT started gaining the momentum, everybody knew that they want to work they want to work in hardware, then the software, then the programming, and whatnot evolved. Today, if we all have to lay the path for our coming generations, we'll have to make sure that they understand amount of data which is flowing in, amount of automation which is flowing in, amount of infrastructure which has become virtual, and all of this combined together in one word is experience. Experience in the domain of healthcare or retail, banking and finance, for arts, for logistics, for every industry today, experience matters. And this experience is basically driven by 3 important pillars. One certainly is the technical knowledge. But in addition to the technical knowledge about AI, it is also very important to integrate it with domain understanding. And when domain understanding and technical knowledge are well knitted together, we speak about statistics or mathematics, which come into the picture. All 3 integrated together will make a solution around artificial intelligence, which can be further driven to students or professionals to understand and make or choose their career. In my terms, I call it as data, cloud, and artificial intelligence. In making India AI capital of the world, the campaign or the initiative was to expose students of 8th to 12th standard to understand correct means of artificial intelligence. Today, there are a lot of free sources or Google or YouTube videos which might confuse all of them to understand what AI can do, what are the capabilities of AI. So an exposure with a practical experience of not doing AI, but experiencing AI is important for kids who would plan their journey, their career well ahead of time. Second, our focus area was basically also to understand and focus on students who are passed out in the pandemic. Everybody talks about it. Pandemic pass out is the label they have. The industry, while recruiting pandemic students, have given a clear declaration that the capability of these students containing IQ and EQ both is far lower than a normal graduate which we used to get a few years back. Focusing on them and creating upskilling opportunities. And third important task on the employment segment. With this vision of making India AI capital of the world, we have launched AI for India in partnership with Ministry of Education, AICTE, and Amazon Web Services together to reach out to everybody in this country, whether it's an arts graduate, a commerce graduate, a diploma, a doctor, to come together and get through few important aspects of understanding at zero cost. So we have defined 3 fundamental curriculum and 3 advanced curriculums. There are no charges, no commercials involved for 3 fundamental curriculums, which is around AI fundamentals, cloud fundamentals, and data fundamentals. The most important part is when a person goes through these 3 fundamentals, which is 16 hours into 3 is the duration. They will appear for the first event, a nationwide event called National Future Engineering Scholarship. This examination, whoever comes into top 25% will get 100% scholarship on doing official certification-oriented curriculums from AWS, including machine learning with pipelines, data science with SageMaker, and Metaverse. And rest of the 75% will have multiple other opportunities to go through. Second event is focused on the pandemic pass out students, scale to scale avenue. Without any conditions, we take them through boot camps around development of data platforms, AI, and application development without any commercial involvement. Ministry of Education and AICTE is explicitly supporting us in this initiative. Third, and the most lucrative initiative is All India AI Ideathon to support entrepreneurs around AI. As they submit their ideas, irrespective of what domain, up to 10 crore of funding plus 1 year mentorship is available to every entry which comes on board to present their idea. Fourth one is a data engineering quiz competition, which is to brand and elevate government and private universities and colleges and compete to understand the data which is generated every second. And the last but not least is concluded with a jobathon. This jobathon, everybody who has participated in this platform on any of the first 4 events is eligible to appear for interviews available on the platform. We are having 123 companies at the moment and guaranteeing at least 5 interview opportunities who excels and completes the entire curriculum with support with certification. NSDC and Future Skills Prime is supporting us in this initiative explicitly. While we do this initiative, it is also visible that there are prominent institutions, including Mr. Rahul Jain and ASMA and the entire team, who is supporting, and without whose support, this initiative would not be possible. At the moment, we have 73 lakh registrations of people who have participated in any of the event, who have registered, and the execution and learning has started. We are aiming to cross 1 crore in next 10 to 15 days. An initiative which is worth running at 𝗔𝗦𝗠𝗔 𝗵𝗵𝗽 from 15th August to 26th January. And we need not only students, but professors, teachers, aspirants, careers, people who have taken breaks in careers, who can participate in this initiative and be a part of making India AI capital of the world. In addition to this, while we speak about artificial intelligence, we have successfully filed 3 patents which has been granted in India, in Middle East, by health authorities on predictive analytics of cancer cells in human body. If you today if for the case the cancer is detected by a patient today, we can support and predict the growth of that cell for next 9 months in the body. 97.84% accuracy has been achieved. And these are the research-based projects where we involve or the colleges, universities, extremely sorry, which take part in these initiatives. It's a national branding and a privilege to be part of this nation-building journey. As I said, when we speak about artificial intelligence, it is very important to get the fact correct. Today, everybody can learn about artificial intelligence, but the implementation of artificial intelligence in banking is completely different than in finance or HR or retail or healthcare. And that implementation is a gap. And that's where we come into the picture and work only with selected institutes to craft their implementation journey in addition to their learning and certification journey. That's why, irrespective of principle, whether it's AWS, Microsoft, Google, Alibaba, IBM, Oracle, it is very important that we understand and create a correct base on how digital universities, how emotional quotients, how feelings, how IQs, how banking is going to transform and what factor will transform. When we talk about artificial intelligence, in a simple word, I would like to sum up that it's the way you train machines, that's the way they will behave. So it's up to you on how you want to train machines. And then based on your training, based on your input, we would have automation sorts and parameters which will work and implement an entire journey. Whether it's customer excellence, CRM, automation, healthcare, or any of the domains for that matter. While my research during my PhD on artificial intelligence at New York University, I have written a thesis with NASA on spatial analytics to do predictive identification of the satellites and stars. Same principle today we are implementing with healthcare industry in India to identify the progress of cells in the body, in the human body. And we need, or India needs, I would say, a lot of researchers who would work on upcoming all the challenges in the coming future around artificial intelligence. We have seen hardware engineers, distributed architectures, software engineers, probably today application developers, API developers, and future data engineers and AI is something which we have to build and work on today. And that's how I urge all of you to explore correct AI, be part of ethical AI and the industries for implementation. And of course, goes unsaid, support AI for India to make India AI capital of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amit Андре, for a wonderful presentation and the most prestigious AI for India program for all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much. There is a link, or there is a website given by Dr. Amit Андре in the chat box. I request, due to some emergency, we are unable to have 𝗔𝗦𝗠𝗔 𝗟𝗲𝗵𝗁 today, so he would not be able to join. So by this, I would like to thank all the participants, all our panelists who have joined today, all our partners, and I would request all the participants to fill the feedback form available in our chat box. Please follow all our social media channels, and thank you. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, all of you. By this, we are concluding today's session, the role of artificial intelligence in the future of higher education in India. Please follow all our social media channel for our future events and further communications. And please, I request all the participants to fill the feedback.